No. Hey y'all, we're just talking about how bad her skin looks. She's still alive. We were going to show you a video and talk specifically about how skin changes. So, since I have something perfect to show you with, very hard to paint backwards. I may have to flip this. That helps.
It does.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to draw backwards, but I may need to flip it. I am looking for how to do that. Okay, well, I'll do it in a second. But, so here is a lower eyelid. It's really weird. I'm gonna have to do it in that mirror. Will you flip that mirror where I can see it? Okay. So you have a lower eyelid that you rarely see the demarcation between your lower eyelid and your cheek. As you age, it starts to get longer because it hollows out. And it starts to be really clear where your lower eyelid ends and then where your cheek begins. And so there's a ligament, a facial ligament, lots of ligaments, but the one that kind of bugs everybody is the one that goes like this. I'm gonna have to get some more brushes. And it makes a shadow. That one's actually kind of pretty, but normally, I don't like yours. They're not pretty. So you can, depending on the strength of that, sometimes it makes it look like your cheek stops here and then elevating it by using a liquid lift or whatever can make it look more confluent. So you can fill above this, and carefully you can sometimes fill here, but what you can't do is create a situation where you try to fill in it and it skirts to either side, because then it almost looks like a, for lack of a better word, like a butt crack on your face. So you have to be really careful how you do that. The lower eyelid shouldn't look like this lower eyelid cheek. So you do things like try to fill in these squares to make these confluent. You're trying to blend them so that you don't see that demarcation. Sometimes it can even extend into your temple, where your temple gets deep, which it looks like mine's getting deep again. And it looks like it's a separate thing, and you don't want that. You really want it blended. Then there's the gel. This is kind of where things start to separate off your face.
Try to use less water.
The peanut gallery over here that wants to know how bad her 18-year-old skin is telling me to use less water. She might be right then. So this is a gel. It starts to fall, but it used to be up here. So there's several parts to a gel. But where this is going is when things start to look separate. May not be going there, but it's supposed to be. So for a jowl, you have this fold, and this fold falls like this over time. And as it falls, through repetitive motion, smiling, chewing gum, age, and just gravity, it runs into where this jowl is that starts to get fleshy and fall off your face. The parts to the jowl that and usually it's fleshy or fatty. And then there's this little part of the mouth that pulls down. And I'm drawing an arrow to show the direction. And as that pulls down, it creates a tug on your mouth. So you have a tug here, you have a fold here, and then you just have this fat here that used to be just a little bit higher. So you can pull that up with a lift or a facelift. You can weaken this little muscle so that the opposite muscle pulls it up. You can feel high to try to lift, like in a liquid lift. Or you can try to destroy the fat. I just like how that sounds. So in this little thing, there are all these little fat cells in these little fibrous pockets. You can inject them with something like Cabela. And it's going to make it swell, and it's not going to be pretty for a while, and it'll take a few treatments. Or you can use something like Morpheus to try to break up the fat. And in breaking up the fat and creating these micro injuries, it can then tighten it. And then it starts to blend. With the rest of your face. But there's still this one little spot, another little spot. So usually it's a combination of those things. It's not just one. Then there's this little triangle, which really might be the death of me if the pain isn't toxic. It gets right in here. And you see the shadow over here? And I discovered this in looking at pictures of my mom. Sorry. You really lose volume here. And a lot of people are scared to enhance their lips. But sometimes just enhancing this. It's almost like I don't know what that thing's called. Not a parenthesis. What's it called? Child. Comma? Not a comma. The one that kind of goes out and in. So sometimes just taking a little cannula and filling this in makes a huge difference, because you just don't want any part of your face to stick out. And sometimes to blend this, you end up using filler here. But the lips are part of that, because this distance, you're rocking along in life and you don't ever notice this part of your face. And it's a good thing, because nobody has a pretty that part of the face. You have an unnoticeable this part of the face. But over time, if you talk and you smile, which we all try not to do around here, you start to get these lines. And then this part of the face becomes something dramatic that you hate. And it makes you kind of look drawn and sad. And then you get more. And it's because that muscle is pulling on the skin, just chronically pulling at it. And then it can start to make creases. So what do? Because nobody wants to look like this.
Yes.
You laser it. You can laser it. And what does lasering do?
It burns it off.
Lasering starts to burn it off and shave it down. But then you've still got that pull. Part of it is because you've lost volume. But remember, when you were little, you never noticed this part of your face. You don't want to notice it. So the only way to not notice it, you can laser it, you can Botox it, you can add volume to it. Usually it's a combination of all of them, and then it can go back to not being something you see. No, that I really like. I'm gonna have to get better at painting. But you start to see things that stick out, and that's what nobody wants, is things that stick out. While we're on the lower face, the chin can really stick out. Nobody wants to. Oh, I love that color. Y'all that didn't know that. Oh. Nobody wants to see a chin. Unless it's this color. But you start to see it. That's called a witch's chin. And you're just seeing the texture of the muscle underneath. And you can easily weaken that and make it better so that you don't see all the shadows. And that's just because I really like that color. So, lower eyelid, these are places you can fill to make them all blend again. You're just trying to make things blend. The temple, not all fillers make things blend, so be careful who you go to. We didn't really talk about the forehead. That's because I washed my hair today. Not that you can tell. So now I'm going to show you what this looks like on a youthful face. Your skin just looks terrible in that.
It does look horrible. Oh my god. A horrible tan.
So this one, this is youth. And the first thing you're going to notice is that you just don't notice anything. I do notice that.
Wipe it off.
I have to. I don't know why she does that with her pretty mouth.
You know what? Look,
I know.
it's gone.
I'll put it back.
Okay.
She wants it a little bit bigger, so we're just going to humor her. How's that? But now you're looking at it, but you never noticed it before. So when everything's in harmony, you don't see it.
Alright. That's fine. I'm going to take my makeup off.
So now we see this little chin line that she has, but we barely notice it because there's not a dark shadow here. We don't even see her smile line, but she has one. Smile. She tries not to smile big. But there is a little line there, and we can barely see it. We don't see a demarcation between the lower lid and the cheek. It just blends. A lot of that is in makeup. Had to. But that's what you want. So you want to still have a lower eyelid. Did I get yours?
You just got my hair a little bit.
And then we want to see this, but we don't want to see this demarcation in between.
You can draw on me. I'm going to take this off.
So we want to see that she has this little line, but we don't see it over here. We know that she has a lower eyelid. She has an eyeball that I can somehow make out through those beautiful lashes. But I don't see, it doesn't jump out at me. And then there's just perfect blending through here. There's no holes. Now, over time, this side of her face is fuller than this side. And over time, that gets very dramatic later in life. But right now...
Is it really?
But nothing sticks out at you. And that's what youth is. Whether, even if it's unattractive youth, it's still nothing sticks out. What is your greatest fear with getting old?
Looking scary.
Tell me what that means.
Getting a bad facelift.
We did see some scary facelifts yesterday.
No, probably jowls.
What?
Jowls.
Would you like to tell them what a jowl is?
The fat or loose skin along your jawline.
And
That
how
just
does it
hangs
make
down.
you look?
Saggy. Like this.
Which makes you look sad. So I'm not going to pull on hers heavy, but when this starts to go down, it does make you look sad. It's easier to see on somebody that doesn't have it. So liquid lips are the thing. We promise not to paint your face. But
Or maybe we will.
But it's never about wanting to look fake or to feel something. It's always about just not wanting to notice something. Like, I don't notice her demarcations over here. And that's what's harmonious and it's peaceful to look at. So, just some food for thought. I hope y'all have a great day. Let us know if you have any questions.